Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all well. So it's been a good couple of years since I last did a creepy clown on this channel, and with this year being clown crazy because of the new It movie, I figured I should fix that. This is another one of my videos sponsored by Mehron this year, so again, if you're interested in buying anything I used in this video, please make sure you check out their link down below. Hey, look, it's me again with the same white contacts I've worn in almost every Halloween video this year. So I'm starting by blocking out the brows with a glue stick. I'm running against the brows first, then brushing them up with a spoolie, and then flattening them with the glue stick again. I learnt my lesson from the last time, and I'm also going to add that final thick layer, so I'm scraping off a bit of the glue and applying a thicker layer over top with a spatula. So I made the mouth on a face cast, but if you don't have a face cast, don't worry, you can just build this up straight onto your face, if you can handle the smell of liquid latex. Or you can hold a piece of plastic wrap up to your face and then map out your features, so where your nose and your mouth is, and then you can use that as a guide and sculpt it on a flat surface instead. So to make the teeth, I used a thermoplastic. You just put the beads in hot water and then they go clear and you can mold them. I also put a tea bag in the hot water to discolor the plastic, so it would be more of an off-white instead of a bright white, and it worked out pretty well. For the shape of the mouth, we're going to do a cotton and latex build-up. So you apply latex, apply the cotton wool, and then apply the latex over top. And you have a bunch of time to work with it and position it however you like. I'm not bothering too much with trying to get the surface smooth because I'm going to add a bunch of texture to the skin after we apply it anyway. It's one of those looks that looks really effective, but it's actually super easy and anyone can do it. So once it dried, I removed the teeth and I actually placed them on a little piece of tape in the order that I removed them, so that I'd know which tooth would fit in each hole when it came to applying them later on. I'm going to attach this with Pros-Aid. You could also use spirit gum or liquid latex or whichever adhesive you prefer. I only applied the adhesive around the edges though, so that the mouth would still be free to move underneath and you'd still be able to speak and smile and stuff. So once that's stuck, I'm going to go around the edges to really anchor it down. Blending out the edges isn't really important for this look, but if there are any gaps where my skin doesn't meet the prosthetic, I'm just going to pop some latex down there and just push some tissue down with a little spatula. Next, I'm mapping out the shape of the eyes with a white liner. I went with your kind of traditional clown makeup shapes, but instead of having the shapes drawn on top of the skin, I wanted them to look carved into the skin instead. So I'm starting with a colour that is close to what would be my actual scar tissue colour. This is just a lip liner. Then I'm using a red liner to go around the edges and blending that in. I realised that a bruise wheel would give a bit more of a kick than the liner, so I ended up adding the red shade over the top too. I'm also going to add a red liner to the waterline. Surprise, surprise. Emma with a red liner at Halloween? No. Then I'm adding some highlights with a tiny bit of white. Next, I'm adding some rigid collodion around the edges. Rigid collodion shrinks as it dries, so it pulls the skin in tight and creates an indent if you apply a few layers. I'm only adding it around the edges here, and I'm avoiding all of the delicate skin around the eyes because I know it's going to hurt when I remove it. As always, please be careful with this product. Do not get it in your eyes or apply it over hair. Honestly, you don't really even need this step. At this point, I didn't plan on building up the skin around the wounds, so I was going to just rely on the rigid collodion as being the only thing adding depth here. But as you can see, I did go ahead and start building up the skin around the eyes. The rigid collodion still adds a cool effect though, and I actually add a little bit more later on too. So if you have it lying around, use it. If not, don't worry about it. So here I'm doing the cotton and latex build-up again. I'm just making the edges around the wounds look higher, so the wounds obviously look deeper. This is the same process I mentioned before, so latex, cotton, latex. The only thing to note here is the shape at the top. If you can, try to make that come down, kind of like a furrowed brow. Then you just want to continue this around the rest of the eye shape, add a little nose on there and do the same thing there too. Then just continue to add a bunch of texture all over the rest of the open skin. And this way too, if you peel it all off in one piece at the end, you can actually keep it as like a full mask. Next, I'm just throwing down a red base over the gum line. This is just a red water activated paint. Then I'm applying white all over the skin and using a cotton bud to remove some of the product on the forehead to simulate wear and wrinkles. Now I'm going to start adding more shades and more depth. First I'm going to add some blue purple around the edges of the eyes and the nose and blend that in. Then I'm using a grey shadow to add some shading and bring out the shapes that we built up with the cotton and latex. Next I'm adding the lipstick, and I went with black instead of your typical red since I was going to be adding blood to the mouth later on and I wanted the blood to really stand out and pop and not just blend in with the lip colour. To add the teeth, again I'm using Prozaid. I applied it to the gum line, waited for it to turn clear and then just popped the teeth in, and it had a nice amount of hold to it. Next, I mixed up some red paint and Prozaid and I ran that around the base of the teeth like gums. Not just for the aesthetic, but also to anchor them in a bit more, since it's gonna go between the teeth while it's liquid and then it's gonna set and really hold them in place. So even though I discolored the plastic, the teeth still looked very white, especially next to that black. So here I'm taking a yellow tooth enamel and just running that over the teeth. I used a wet brush to do this as well, so it was kind of watered down and looked more like a stain. Going back to the eyes, I'm going to bump up the colours and the contrast in there since the mouth is now so intense. It kind of needs to balance it out a little bit. I added some more purples and a little bit of black. So that whole area was looking a little bit flat to me. It looked like it needed something else. So I decided to add some shine, and I think it makes a huge difference. It's subtle, but it's one of my favourite bits. You could use Vaseline or lube. I've been making slime with KY jelly for another video I'm doing, so I just used that. I also ran it across the top of the black lipstick too. Next I'm applying some grey paint around the edges and just here and there on my face, just to muddy up that white colour a bit. It was looking a little bit too clean and bright for this monstrosity. Then on the neck I decided to go with some black and white vertical stripes. Of course you want to mess these up too. Don't be too neat, let it streak, let it be patchy. You can mess it up with your hands, you can add water to make it streaky. I added some little paint splats here and there too. Then finally I'm going to add some blood. First I started with the tips of the teeth, of course, because he's a cannibal clown. I was going to bring it down the neck as well, but I did just do a similar kind of thing with my vampire look, so I wanted to do something a bit different. I first placed some controlled spots with a red paint, just so I could control like the general shape and direction I wanted. Then I used a blood splatter spray up one side. Then I finished off with some more controlled spots, but this time I used stage blood. But then that's it. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I've been loving seeing all of your recreations on Instagram, so keep them coming. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in my next one.